And lest we think naively about the cost of life here, we should remember that this is not unusual. 50 million human beings a year perish in the world. 6,000 every hour, over 100 every minute, and most of them do not die in ripe old age, sleeping away into eternity. Most of them die young, and most of them die after long, agonizing struggles with pain. Sudden calamities like we have seen ought to shock us into the realization that this happens every hour. One of the truths that we embrace with trembling joy at Bethlehem is the truth of God's supremacy in all things. The mission of this church is we exist to spread a passion for the supremacy of God in all things, for the joy of all peoples through Jesus Christ. And when we say that, we do not mean except in calamities. We exist to spread a passion for the supremacy of God in all things with a capital A, through Jesus Christ, all the time, no exceptions. We did not formulate this mission statement in a rosy world and then get surprised by the reality of suffering. Oops, we forgot. So I ask, why, Lord, does this world exist? Why this evil? Why terror? God's aim for this fallen, terrorized, troubled world is that He be known more fully. Because knowing God most fully is what it means for us to be loved most fully. Let me say that again. If we know God most fully, including mercy, judgment, wrath, holiness, patience with sinners, if we know Him most fully, we are most fully loved. Because to be loved is to be able to know God and be satisfied with God forever. Therefore, the greater and the more full the revelation of God, the more we may be loved if we will accept love. Listen to Romans 8:18. The sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing to the glory that is to be revealed to us. For the creation waits with eager longing for the revealing of the sons of God. For the creation was subjected to futility, not willingly, but because of Him. This is God. Him who subjected it in hope that the creation itself would be set free from its bondage to decay and obtain the freedom of the glory of the children of God. What we are experiencing in the world are birth pangs, Paul says. A new age is to be born, and the heaving of the natural order in this world is a testimony to the disorder of the moral world, namely my sin. Adam's sin, your sin. And here's the reason for it. Who in this world gives a hoot about sin? Who in this world sheds tears because of the repugnance and the horror and the dishonor done to God because of their sin? Nobody. How is God to speak when we are so morally dead, so spiritually blind, that the ultimately moral ugliness of the world phases us not one bit? He does it with the world. This they can feel. Pain they can feel. So I will subject the whole creation to futility until they get the message. Sin is horrible. Diseases and deformities are God's portraits of what sin is like in the spiritual realm. And that's true even if the most godly people bear those deformities. Calamities are God's previews of what sin deserves and will one day receive in judgment, 1,000 times worse than New Orleans or 9/11. Famines, pestilence, persecution, these happen so that the world would see that the followers of Jesus count Christ more precious than everything they've lost, and discover that He can be that for them. Because one day they're going to lose everything. Everybody loses everything on earth someday.